So I enjoy audio more than the regular person. It's kind of a sick, sad addiction, and I probably should stop spending money on it. But I'm not going to because I like it, and you can't stop me. Anyways, we're going over the Lewitt Connect 6 today. Just thought I'd put that out there. Yeah. So the Lewitt Connect 6 is probably not something you've really heard of since there's not really that much coverage about it. The Lewitt Connect 6 is an audio interface, but not only is it an audio interface for your mic, it's also a mixer and a channel strip, I guess. So anyways, the Lewitt Connect 6, you gotta say that. I might just continue calling it the Connect 6. Yeah, we'll do that. Connect 6. So the Connect 6 is a DSP audio interface. And if you don't know what DSP means, DSP is digital signal processing. And most of you are probably really familiar with the concept of DSP because DSP is what the Go XLR uses. So a majority of you are probably using DSP processing right now. There you go. Guess what? Right there. Also, the Beacon the Beacon mic also uses it as well. But that's actually stored inside of that's a totally different thing, and it still kind of blows my mind that they were able to put that in a little. Anyways, so the Connect 6 is probably something a lot of you aren't going to need, but I also didn't need it, but I bought it anyways. So I guess this would be used for people who want more granular control over their audio, like the fact that you're able to use a compressor, an EQ, a limiter, a maximizer on this device by itself, and it takes up no CPU usage, unlike a lot of the VSTs that are out there that do the same thing. So I guess wanted to simplify my setup because I have like 3 things back there. I have a DBX channel strip, I have a Motu M2 audio interface, and I also have a Yamaha NG10XU that it's doing all of my audio stuff for both of my PCs because I use a dual PC setup. My hopes with this is that's going to take those 3 things and put it down to 1. And instead of reaching back there to grab all that shit, I'm just going to have to reach up here and just press down a knob. So I guess one of the best things about this is the fact that you're able to do all of that on one device. This thing was created for, more or less created for different podcasters. It was different streamers, content creators. This thing was kind of made for the online content creation world, and because of that, there are a lot of different things that you're able to do. And one of my favorite things that is really unique to basically to any of this, the fact that you can take this device and you can plug it into a phone. You can plug it into a phone. You can do like a TikTok stream with it, I guess. You can do shorts directly on your phone just using your XLR mic and using all of that DSP processing, which that's kind of wild. But the thing I'm more interested with is the fact that this mobile little input can also be pushed over to a secondary PC. And that's what I'm going to do. I have a 2 PC setup, and I had a really, really weird, convoluted, and kind of wacky way of doing all of it. I intend on taking this, connecting the main, which is USB, I think it was USB audio 2, which supports up to 96 kilohertz and 24-bit audio. And then there's the other one that's labeled mobile on the back. That one's a USB audio 1, which with that one, it goes to like 48 on the sample rate and 24-bit still. But the thing is, it's like most of the stuff that you're going to be using 48 kilohertz sample rate, because that's what most of the broadcasting stuff like OBS uses. They don't go up to 96. They go up to like 48 at a maximum. So I guess we can kind of go into it. We can go through and I can give you my impressions of stuff. So for the packaging was absolutely great. The box was kind of very straightforward. It wasn't too flashy. It wasn't too crazily overpackaged, which kind of been it kind of has been popularized by companies like Apple and Elgato to minimize to make everything a little bit sleeker and less weird. This comes with a whole bunch of different things, and by a whole bunch, I mean it comes with two things. It comes with a USB-A to USB-C cable and a USB-C to USB-C cable, which I'm honestly going to be replacing with my own because I bought some specifically for this because I have to reach back there, then I have to put it up here. It's going to be a whole process. So I guess my first take on this is I like the way that they packaged it, and I like the fact that they put only what needed to be in there except for the stickers. The stickers, like podcastage, is a lot of the times they're going to get thrown away, and I guess now we're going to go to the build quality. The build quality, I guess it's a toss-up. You would expect something like this to be made out of metal, but this guy is made out of hard plastic. And when I say hard plastic, it's hard plastic. This thing is a tank for being made of plastic. I guess you really don't need everything to be made out of like metal and aluminum, but it would have been nice to have a little bit of it, like even just like the top or the bottom plate. It would have been nice to have it a little bit more substantially built rather than like it looks like injection molded processing. Yeah, it's not even injection mold. It's just a couple different pieces of plastic, but again, they're hard as hell. And I'm really surprised, like, there's no flex to them at all. I've tried, there's no flex to this thing whatsoever. While I wish it was made of aluminum, the plastic they picked was perfect, and it works. So next, there are a whole bunch of different pieces of IO on this monstrosity. It's not even a monstrosity. It's kind of beautiful. It's a little weird. It's very sharp, edgy, which a lot of companies kind of been shying away from. So, you know, good on them for being thinking outside of the box and giving the opportunity to shave this thing. Don't bludgeon anybody with this because you will go to jail. You will be imprisoned for that. Don't do it. There's a lot of different pieces of IO on this, as I was saying before. They are all really, really well built. The only little bit of give that I saw in any of the ports was the USB ports, but that's kind of a given because none of those are really truly snug. You can put a USB cable to almost anything and it's going to give you a little bit of give. Like the 1/4 inch jacks, like every single one of the 1/4 inch jacks are really, really snug. Those are the most snug out of all of them. And I really like the fact that it doesn't give at all. And that also kind of goes for the 3.5 millimeter jacks as well. There's no give on those. They were well attached and I like it. So another thing that I kind of noticed was there is a little bit of give on the top knob. Say that 10 times fast. No, I'm not going to say it. There was a little bit of give on the top knob. I don't blame that because it's also a tactile knob. So like, if you're listening, it's extremely tactile. And that's actually because there is a selector right here of a whole bunch of different areas that you're able to select by pressing down the knob. You can select input 1, you can select output 1 for your headphones, you can select output 2 for your headphones, you can select 48 volt phantom power for whatever input you're using. That I guess is just the physical part of this, which it also kind of goes into the other part, which is the audio. Before we kind of get into that, there is one more thing. There's one more test that I wanted to do, and that is it tastes like plastic, and that's not surprising because it's plastic.
24 hours later.
So it's the next day. Yesterday, I tried to finish up making the whole review for the Connect 6, and I realized like during the setup and everything, I kind of got annoyed. So a lot of the stuff that I was saying was valid, but also I sound like an asshole. I've had a whole like pretty much like 16 hours to actually go through and play with this thing. Like I adjusted the EQ. I went through and I set up like the mixes for my headphones, for my everything like that. So without being annoyed, here are my final thoughts on the thing. So whenever you're initially starting up with it and you're going to connect 2 PCs to it, mind you, I haven't done any of the mobile stuff because that's not really going to be what this is used for. So I kind of didn't want to go over it because I'm not going to use it like that. So this is more or less like a review of what I'm using it for, which is 2 PCs, which is mainly for streaming stuff. So one of the things you have to make sure to be careful for is connecting an external power source to it first. Because if you connect your streaming PC, then your gaming PC through the mobile, and then connect the power, it's most likely going to port reset something on your computer, and you kind of have to wait a minute for it to reset itself completely before plugging it in. Plug in the power first, then plug in the streaming and then the mobile, and then on the app, you'll see the mobile section pop up, and that's where you're able to actually adjust any of your audio coming in from your gaming PC. It's really nice having a physical device in front of me that I'm able to adjust my volume, the volume of like my mic, just like right on hand. Having the clicks is really nice to have. Like you click down the knob, you go ahead and you just cycle through whatever, and you're able to figure out what volume it should be. The submixes, that's fucking amazing. That's great to have because I can hear something different than what my stream is, because sometimes I need my audio to be a little bit louder than I want to send to stream. The fact that you have maybe 6 different inputs and outputs, maybe it's not, is it 6? I actually don't know. But anyways, the fact that you have a whole slew of inputs and outputs digitally on Windows is really nice because I'm able to set the mic as a separate entity from the actual mix that's going to OBS and to my headphones. I personally, I'm not somebody who really monitors their audio because I'm possibly just a deviant. I'm a deviant. Having the availability for like so many different inputs and outputs digitally is nice. Something I found out last night while I was gaming with a buddy of mine. Everything, I didn't realize this about DSP stuff, but every setting that you set on the app saves to the device. And I am very happy about that because I have it mainly connected to my streaming PC, and last night I was just gaming, so I didn't have the need to have my streaming PC on. So I turned it off, and in the middle of it, I was thinking, it's like, oh no, this has to be on for me to actually listen to everything. And then my PC turned off, and everything was normal. You were able to hear my voice on the other line. I was in a Discord call. You were able to just listen to all of the audio. It was nice because a lot of the times for that to happen, I'd have to have both PCs on because of how weird and convoluted my setup was. So that's already a plus. That's already a huge plus. I guess that was kind of my pros section. Now here are some of my cons. The software is still a little bit buggy. The software, one issue that I was seeing was if I stayed in the EQ section a little bit too long and didn't really mess with anything, I'd click on where you're able to change like high pass, low pass, the shelf and the peaks and the notch. I'd click on that and nothing would appear. It would just be completely blank and I wouldn't be able to select anything on there until I restarted the actual software. And I kind of noticed that the presets would disappear too. So it was like kind of everything that comes from a drop down kind of disappeared until I restarted the software. And when I restarted the software, everything was fine. Not particularly a great user experience. The workaround's super simple. It's really simple to fix it, but you really shouldn't need to fix something like that. You know, going through messing with the auto setup's nice. I will say that the auto setup's definitely not going to be something that is 100% accurate 100% of the time, mainly because it's generated from the voice coming in through the mic, so you're still going to have to adjust some stuff. it does set a really good baseline for you to tweak, so you don't have to go in completely blind, and that was nice. I did end up changing a lot of stuff. So one of the things that I noticed was an expander, there was a compressor, there was EQ, and there was no noise gate. So kind of going into that, I was just like, wait, where's my noise gate? How am I going to gate blah, 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 blah. I realized that you can use an expander as a noise gate, and I had never done that before, so it was kind of interesting learning how to do it. I'm not entirely sure how adding features to a DSP works, but I would like to see just a traditional noise gate for people that are looking for this for content creation, especially because not a lot of people are going to understand that you can gate noises with an expander unless you kind of look into it and just kind of, I did a lot of research last night, and it's because of that I was able to kind of have a better grasp on, my final thoughts about this. So if you could add a noise gate, that'd be amazing. But if you're buying this at right now, learn how to gate with an expander, and it will save you so much trouble of trying to EQ it out, because I tried to EQ out all of the low end stuff and that didn't work. I just got muddy and everything like that. But then I realized that, hey, I can set this expander to kind of cut out at a certain level. And when I learned that, it started sounding infinitely better. Okay, so I went through kind of the setup. I went through the software. Hardware's great. I have nothing that, honestly, I think these preamps are really, really solid. And the headphone DAC, really good. I'm kind of hearing stuff that I think it's a little bit clearer. It's able to run my DT990 Pro 250 ohms, no issue. Of course, I also use some IEMs like the Moondrop Chews, which are these right here, these little cuties. And I did notice it sounded a little bit different, a little bit on the higher note, so I think it's driving the headphones a little bit better than it was for my Yamaha MGX 10XU, that's what it's called. I have more, I need to actually listen a little bit harder with some different headphones and some different IEMs and everything like that to kind of get the whole listening experience from this thing. From what I've seen, it's able to run pretty much anything. Maybe not the 600 ohm versions, you might need to buy an amp for that, but the 250 ohms, they're running great. And I can't really hate on it at all. So I guess the huge consensus here would be, do you need this right now? Is this a bunch of feature sets that you're willing to experiment with because there's something that you need? If the answer is no, personally, I'd wait. I wait for the software to flesh out a little bit. Because the thing is, it's digital, and it's digital. So they're able to fix a whole bunch of stuff relatively soon because it's all software updates. If you're willing to experiment, like I am, and you're willing to kind of play around with it, you're willing to early adopt a brand new interface, honestly, yeah, no, it's good. Personally, it is doing everything that I need it to do. It has my mic. I no longer have my FET head plugged into it, and it's playing all of my audio. I'm able to situate things, and it sounds great. It's basically that barrier of entry kind of thing that might end up scaring some people away, basically because I feel like this is a music first, content creation second kind of interface, which is understandable because it's from a music company. It's from a music company that also happens to end up working with one of the biggest streaming companies out there. If you don't know what that is, it's Elgato, because Lewitt's the people who made the capsules for the Wave products. I think they made the Wave XLR preamps and everything like that, but I'm not entirely sure about that, so do not quote me, please. But yes, music first, content creation second, but it's like a close second. If you figure out how these things work, it's gonna work fantastic. I adjusted things to the point where it was perfect for me. I'm going to give it a little bit more time too. I'm not going to unplug anything in the background because I feel like that's just kind of spelling disaster, just in case this doesn't work out exactly how I want it to work out. But this is a really cool device with a bunch of feature sets that I personally wanted in a device, and it kind of replaced 3 things that are sitting in my rack right now, which is my DBX, my mixer, and my audio interface. I guess at some point I'll probably post a follow-up, but until then, if you enjoyed this, please, for the love of God, give it a thumbs up. I'm putting a lot of time into this guy. This is probably going to be a more produced video, because a lot of mine are just really kind of cutty, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe to it. Put the notifications on, do all that jazz. I would love to see you here more often, because I enjoy making these videos and I enjoy the positive interaction that I've been having in the comments, which is weird on YouTube. I realize that. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Yeah. Anyways, I love you. I hold you near and dear to my heart. This is a little awkward and I'm gonna go. Bye.